Thank you. And you know what? What is your power?
East way. If y'all have no girl problems out there, you married, you single, you got a girlfriend, someone can help you out from here, right? Holidays is fast, holidays coming up all the time.
Okay. Here we get a little deeper. You're a young
So
guy.
you say to him,
Hi there. Welcome back to A Civil Discourse. Hey, today we've got a couple guests on here. We've got Sin, GC, and one of our regulars, Michael Jenkins over there. I'm Paul Papadopoulos, and we have an exciting show planned for you. A lot of, I guess you could say, maybe very relevant issues that are going on in society right now. And I'm going to start with Sin with a question for you. What does it mean to be labeled? Now you can answer probably one of these, but labeled black or white. What does that labeling mean, do you think, to you?
That's a good question. I feel like, I don't want to say it's necessarily a label. I just feel like it just identifies, not who I am, but what I am. I know that everybody has their own beliefs. Everybody's human. I see no color, or any race, but I am Black African American. So, I think that's where I come to acceptance of knowing, like, okay, like this is what it is. I am Black, but being labeled, that's a good question. I don't see it as mean necessarily being labeled. Depends on what kind of terms you use it. Like, are you using it in a negative way, or are you using it in a positive way?
What if it's a neutral way? Just someone identifies you, sees you, and immediately they go, she's Black. Is there a stereotype that comes with that? Do you think automatically, like, let me go here to GC. If you see someone walking down the street, and we're all human, you see a guy coming along, and he's a white guy, right? Is there a stereotype in your mind that must come with that?
Yes.
So what do you feel like when let's say you see a guy, he's Asian, Chinese. What?
You see, if I were to see someone that's Asian or Chinese or of any other race, I will only be able to predict how they're going to be based on my experiences with them.
Exactly.
So me
right.
seeing someone that's Asian, I would consider the Asian culture, what I know about the Asian culture,
Right.
and then I would respect if this person identifies with that, I would respect their tendencies to be along with, what they have already taken as the stereotype for how they expect to be.
So is a surprise to you? For example, I always find it surprising if like an Asian person has a different accent than I was expecting, or maybe it's a Black person that has an accent that's British.
Right.
Something that takes you off for a second. You go, whoa, that's not what I expected.
That's the problem. Like, we gotta stop expecting that to put people in a certain box. You know what I'm saying? Because someone is African American and they sound like they come from another sound. They speak nothing but Japanese. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you were brought up and what you were presented with growing up. Like, you can't. Yeah, it's all about you're Black, but it's also about who you know. Like, I feel like for me personally, I understand, like, if I see, Asian, just like what you said, like, you want to go off of the culture, but what I also know, that's something in the back of my mind that I'm not going to present that in person. I'm going to let you speak as a person and let you present yourself as who you are, and I'm just going to go for that. So, yeah, definitely.
So we'll get Mike involved here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do labels for people based solely on color, in your opinion, do they somewhat segregate people into superficial groups, or you feel like these groups are meaningful? In other words, when we label, I don't know, let's say 500 million people as Black or 500 million people as white, are they segregating them into groups, sort of on a superficial basis? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're segregating them into superficial groups. For myself, I just look at people of color, of all colors. So to me, it doesn't help. It doesn't. I don't think it helps our society by putting people into buckets automatically. I think it's a detriment.
Well, see, here's a broader issue that I think that when you were talking about earlier, right? Now, let's say someone comes from Brazil, right? They have a totally different culture, right? It's sort of a Portuguese Brazilian culture, but they look like you. Your expectation might be, if you see them here in Gaithersburg, that they're American. You see what I'm talking about, like that stereotype, they may not fit that stereotype. So are you caught off guard, or do you feel like are you still segregating them into that group? Does that happen?
It does, but that's all about the knowledge that you know that you have in culture in general. If you have knowledge, that's not where your mind is going to be at, because then you know that there's all different types of people. Now, if you don't have that type of knowledge, of course you're going to put that person in that box, like, oh, because this person is dark skinned, they must be automatically black. Oh, because this person is with a whiter color, they're Caucasian. You know, it's all it's all about the knowledge and what you know and what has been presented to you growing up, or what you want to gravitate to, what you want to get to know more.
Well, wait, let me ask you guys this, though. Going with that theme, what does it take for you to identify someone as black? Is it just strictly superficial? Like what you see on the outside? Who falls into being black?
I think it is pretty superficial. You see, back onto the question of what does it mean to be labeled as black or white, or do I agree with the labeling of something being labeled as black or white? You see, when something is labeled, a label just gives you, because you have a box and the box has a label on it. The label gives you an idea of what's inside of it, what's expected inside of the box, right? Now, I think that there's nothing wrong with giving something a label.
Right.
But I think that the labels are just too limited. This is label someone black or white. I mean, if someone could be black or white, but it's what culture do they identify with is the real question. Right. And then even if they do identify with the culture, you have just such an extreme variety of characteristics, just simply depending if the person's positive or negative, introvert or extrovert within that culture. So someone who want to identify as black from the urban culture, or black into the Asian culture, or black into the African culture, there's nothing wrong with that. Someone else identifies as white and into the African culture, or white into the Asian culture, or white into the urban culture, there's nothing wrong with that. And then, the details of, whether they're positive, negative, whatever else, that's varies to people's understanding, ideas, and knowledge.
But do you think, for example, that we stereotype people? In other words, here's what I'm saying. You see someone, you think they're a stereotype of whiteness or blackness. Automatically, as humans.
Everybody is human. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's human. I feel like stereotype, yes. Like, a lot of people do it. And that's something that we need to, as humans, need to be careful with, and we need to learn how to go about that, because when you it's like we were just having a conversation not too long ago that falls under judgment. You're judging somebody. So I feel like everybody does. Everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes. But that's where we have to teach ourselves the knowledge that brings back in the knowledge of what we need to know and how we need to go about it, instead of just automatically stereotype you. And it's hard. It's easier said than done, because I've been one of those people, We all have,
Yeah.
So it's easier said than done. Wow, these are really good questions. It's easier said than done, but that stuff is so bad sometimes.
Have you guys, either of you, been attracted to a friend that does not look like you?
Right.
Well, like they don't have African ancestry, right? Have you guys had a friend that you're attracted to that friend?
What's
you don't
so
know
funny
why,
that
but
you
you
say
are,
that.
right?
Yeah, I actually dated a white guy. He was white, and it was different for me.
Yes.
Different culture. He's learning about me. I'm learning about him and what he does. So when it comes to stereotyping, that is true, because if you do have that significant other that you're talking to, or that friend, and you guys do get to have that intellectual conversation, that deep conversation, where you guys can talk about that and get your difference. Oh, I thought it was this. Well, no, I thought it was this. No, well, really, I don't like this. Like it's funny that you say that. It's really.
I apologize.
No, please.
When it comes to stereotyping, I think it just really depends on what your attention is focused on when you're stereotyping.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is, if you look at someone that you want to just be on the level of, they're black, white, Asian, or whatever else, then you're going to look at their color or their race and say, well, I expect them to be like this. I stereotype, and I stereotype a lot, because I'm looking at the way, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to use to express themselves, and how they're trying to define themselves, with how they're dressing, and the way they choose to express, what words they use to express themselves. And I'm stereotyping based on those things, because these things are giving me a hint to how they're internally identifying. Because regardless of
embrace the differences and try to find out about their food, language, culture, and you find it exciting, or you could think that anyone different than you is different. Which approach do you guys take? The embrace it, or the, oh man, it's different? I don't know if I can deal with that.
I'm always looking to expand and always challenge what I'm already comfortable with. So I'm always looking at, just in general life, I'm always looking to meet new people, because I know new people are doorways to new experiences and new foods and new places and things like that. So if I'm deciding to get into a relationship with someone, I'm looking for that person to expand my reality. So I'm open to trying new things and different things like that.
I have a question for each of you. I want you all to answer this question for me. We can start with you then. Okay. Do you feel the media and politicians are manipulating you when they try to force you into a racial voting bloc or group? This is all over the news and media all the time.
I want to say yes.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
As if, I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm just speaking for everybody. I feel like it makes me and certain other people feel like we don't have an opinion, like we're not seen. Like, I want to say hell yeah. Like, if you think about it, like, I feel like when you do stuff like that, I feel like you're automatically trying to force my opinion or someone else's opinion to something that maybe that's not what they agree with, or like...
Or they have to agree with you.
Or they have to, You're right. Yeah.
Did you ask me a question?
Okay, so do you feel... No, it's all good. No. Here's the thing. Do you feel like the media and politicians are trying to force you into a group and say, hey, Daniel, you're the black vote. You must vote this way.
Oh, yeah. 100% yes. The most potent form of it I've ever seen was when Obama was running for president. All throughout the music, all throughout almost every song, it is being mentioned. And it's almost as if the music is telling you, you're black. And this is what, the highest value of your culture is these rappers and actors and sports people. And they're like, look, this is what we're...
And
we're who you're...
the influence,
And it's as if they're saying, we're who you're trying to be. You're a young rapper or a young kid playing basketball or a young actor. We're the highest value of your culture. And this is what we're saying. This is who you're trying to be like us. And this is what we're telling you. And the mute, it was an artist named Young Jesus. He said, my president's black. This was before he was even the president. Mm-hmm. So, it's already being fixed within our minds and everything already through the music alone. And the media is already just backing it up with endless movies and things to just support these ideas.
I think that they also, going on what you said about Obama, I think that there was this big push to hide the fact that he was raised by his white grandmother. Like, he wasn't raised by an inner city black grandmother. No, this was a guy who was raised probably more in white culture, much more in Hawaii by a white grandmother, you could say, than that would be his main influence, right? If who you're raised by.
Who you're raised by, yes, definitely.
I think there was a bit of not as truthful as they should have been with that. Now, do you guys feel the term race has value to it? Race as putting people into racial groups. I don't know how many there are. You make up as many as you want.
What? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do think it has value in it. I think that there's as much benefit as harm in it as well.
Yeah.
You see, culture varies with locations and different, locations in general. Culture ranges, but knowing someone's race, knowing the base culture that the person is gonna always. For example, if you have a Jamaican kid in America and he begins becoming what they call being Americanized, what happens? He gets sent back to Jamaica. And the same thing happens with African, right? You see it a lot when you're growing up, like this kid that was Spanish, and no matter where they're from, what happens is no matter what a culture they identify with, or even their parents, they know, like, okay, you know what? The principles and morals of our people is leaving him. He doesn't want to eat what we eat. He doesn't want to watch what we watch, and whatever we like, so they send him back to get a fresh pump of the culture, of their root culture, which is going to be based on their race.
I got to
back
interrupt
into
you and
that.
ask you something. Are you using race and culture interchangeably? It sounds like.
What do you mean by that? I'm
Well,
sorry.
okay, no. Okay, it sounds like you're using the term race to describe the culture, right? Like Jamaican culture, yeah?
Yes.
And race, not that you have African ancestry, the race to you is culture, correct?
Oh, okay.
Am I-
I see what you
am
mean.
I
Yes,
on-
I think I was. Matter of fact, you're right. I think
That's
I was.
okay. I just
Okay.
want to make sure I'm understanding where you're coming from. To you, race is culture, not skin color so much as where you grew up, that culture. Because do you consider like Jamaican race different slightly than American, African American? Sort of different, is that
Yes.
right?
Totally different.
Okay.
Totally different.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people, when they talk about race, they're talking about your ancestry. It's, to me, there's no scientific value behind the ancestry thing because we're all human. You might have something more in common with someone who doesn't look like you than your own brother or sister. So the race thing to you is culture, or no?
You know, the reason why I think the biggest value in race, I would say, is simply this: the fact that we know that information is passed down within DNA, and knowing that the different experiences of different races within their DNA does affect their natural predispositions for how they're going to act and behave and things like that. Culture and everything and environment does influence that. But in the same way, you can get a puppy and throw it inside of the water and it knows how to swim, but that's because there's information within its DNA being unlocked within certain circumstances and situations. Some people are naturally artists, some people are naturally singers, and that's a result of their DNA, which is going to be related to their race and not culture or anything like that. So a Jamaican person has some natural ways of being when it comes to certain things. Whether he is in contact with the Jamaican culture or not, there's certain natural ways he's going to be at times.
So what happens to someone with like mixed ethnicity? You know, I'm just curious because
like
like my
it's
daughter
That
is
you
mixed.
say that because
My
it's-
daughter's mixed, so
Okay.
I'm just curious. Where do we fall on that?
It's funny because I was always brought, and not even to like, be disrespected, like say if it was white and black, being you got a white and black person and you have a baby and you got this mixed child, I was always told that black is a dominant race. So I don't know what, it's funny because I'm still learning. So when you're asking like, when it comes to, your daughter being half and white, like what is race, like what is dominant, what is this? It's I feel like it's all of how you grow. I don't know. I don't know.
What if the child was raised, today's world, my daughter's 10, and to be honest with you, she looks like a white kid. So people treat her as such. I've taught her that skin color for us is irrelevant. We only judge people by who they are, their character as a person. We don't care because our friends are all different colors and we kind of embrace it. But for her, I would like to raise her in a new age of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because I have more in common with some of my friends that are brown than my own brother. That's how I always phrase it to her. That's just how it is for us. And I think we have to end it here, and we're going to see you next time, and hopefully we have these nice folks back next week.
This is great.
You want to say goodbye?
All right, had a lot of fun.